Hey guys, we're back. Yeah, I know we don't want to be here either. But anyway,
We
we're
are.
back with minimum wage as our topic. Your boy Chaos and Psyche. He changed his name. Last time he was Frosty, but now he's Psyche. So yeah.
Yep, I'm back and better.
Uh-huh.
All right.
Well,
So
minimum
to
wage.
start off simply.
Before we start off, we're gonna take
All
this in
right.
a different approach from last time. Like last time, I feel like we were like it was too much of a presentation and us just spitting facts out. But this time we're gonna use our actual own experience because we both work jobs that pay minimum wage, and I feel like more anecdotal evidence could be helpful, especially in this podcast type environment. Since we're not like doing a presentation, we're
Yup.
just stating our opinions based on our own experiences. So yeah,
Yeah. So to start off with the simple question: Do you think we should increase our federal minimum wage?
by you mean me, right? You're talking to me. Yeah, okay. Because I
Yeah,
don't know if you're
yeah,
talking to the viewer or me, but whatever. Um,
yeah.
so okay.
Respectfully
At
so.
first, I was towards without any research. I was towards like increasing the minimum wage because I was like, hey, why not? That sounds good, right? Finally I could make $15 an hour just like the people in New York City are. Well, because if you didn't know, in New York City they're making $15 an hour minimum wage, while in other parts of New York State, I think it's $13.25, and then the federal minimum wage is $7.25 an hour. So yeah,
Yep.
it differs in various parts, and I guess we'll just touch a little bit upon all of them. But anyway, back to the question. So yeah, at first, without any initial research, I was like, hey, well, let's raise the minimum wage. Why not? It, I, yeah, why not? I don't see any negatives to it. But then as I looked into it more, I found that there's actually a lot of negatives. So now I'm kind of against raising the minimum wage. What about you?
Yeah. For my case, I thought it wouldn't be a good idea to raise the federal minimum wage because I see these fast food workers and I thought it would be ridiculous if they got paid more. Starting to get I don't know how much an accountant is paid, but it can't be too far off from minimum wage. But they have to work for that job, right? Get a degree and everything. Meanwhile, these fast food workers are getting up there. I'm a fast food worker. I have mad respect for them, right? I know what they go through, but it's getting up there, and I didn't think it was too necessary, except for like those people in like weird situations who have to like support their entire family. But that's not everybody, right? Usually, people working fast food aren't planning to stay there as a permanent job or anything,
You
are like
know,
just using it as a stepping stone.
Sorry to interrupt you, but I just thought of something. I liked how you said like not everybody has like a family to support. So maybe like I don't know how this would be implemented, but what if there was a minimum wage increase only for those who actually have a family to support? Because then like it's actually reasonable giving them increase in minimum wage because they actually have a family to support, more mouths to feed rather than just one person. So maybe that could be an interesting way for
Now,
yeah.
that is an interesting way, but I suppose that would what double down on the already existing way they do state taxes, because for New York State taxes, right? It differs depending on if you're married or not,
Hmm.
and depending on how many dependencies you have, which is like how many people you're dependent for. You like sign that off on your W-2 form, like how many people are you dependent for? Zero. If you put down zero or one, if you're like list single, they're gonna take out more taxes, right? Because they're like, okay, well this person doesn't have anybody they're responsible for, so we can take more from them. Meanwhile, if you're higher, right? I mean, well, not higher, but like if you're married, it's not technically supposed to be that bad, right? They're supposed to not take out as many each week because you have a family to keep up. But I do believe that it's gonna what bite you in the bum come tax return time.
Hmm. Yeah, probably. But yeah, so I'll start off with the actually you want to start off with the pros or the cons, like for or against raising minimum wage. I feel like it makes sense to start off with the for.
Uh, yeah, that would
Okay,
make sense.
okay, then you can explain the for since you're
So
pro raising it.
yeah, I'm more on the middle ground. I don't. It doesn't matter too much to me if we raise it or not.
But
But
for the sake of
I'm
like discussion, you can be like,
I'm leaning towards raising it.
yeah.
Not an insane amount, but
Hmm.
so I found this fact sheet from the Committee on Education and the Workforce, Democrats. That might not appeal to some of you people, but it's a fact sheet, and I'm assuming it's factual. It's not
It's not like
too
from the
outdated.
Associated Press or anything like that.
It's from .gov.
Yeah.
So
Oh, it is.
basically,
No, it is factual.
yeah. So basically, first of all, okay, so we'll just why don't we do this like a back and forth type of thing. So for you, do you think that businesses would support raising the minimum wage? Like, did you find anything out about that would be a con?
For raising the minimum wage, that would be a con. Is that what you asked?
Business wise.
Oh yeah,
Yeah, business
yeah.
wise.
I actually found
Like
a
business
lot
owners.
of for especially for business owners. So like, okay, so it greatly varies on which businesses will be affected, right? So I'm gonna take like three examples, and only two of them won't be affected that much, but one of them will, and that one type of business is actually really more important than the other two, in my opinion at least. Okay, so let's take a case example, right? So Amazon, they are mostly an online e-commerce business. So their only personnel really are the people who are like, developing the software, they're software engineers, and they're like warehouse people maintaining their inventory, and then the shipping people who actually ship them to different locations, right? So Amazon doesn't have
Yep.
like that many people, relatively speaking, compared to like another business like Walmart, right? There are millions and millions of people working in the retail business. So Walmart would be more affected than a company like Amazon. But let's take Walmart for example. If let's Walmart makes a ton of money in revenue, right? They like yeah, they make a ton. Like well, the Walmart's revenue um from 2019 was 514.4 billion US dollars. So yeah, and compared to Amazon, Amazon had 232.9 billion dollars in 2018 revenue. So yeah, they Walmart made like almost double, more than double actually, than Amazon. So they actually have the money to pay their thousands and tens of thousands of workers. Actually, I don't even know how. Like I'm gonna actually but yeah, they actually have the money to pay their workers and increase minimum wage. Now let's take the third case business, the third case
Small
example,
businesses, I'm assuming.
which is the small business owners. They are going to get wrecked by this, right? So, for example, the Congressional Budget Office projected that a minimum wage increase from $7.25 to $10.10 would result in a loss of 500,000 jobs. So, and the reason for this loss of jobs is because small business owners simply don't have the revenue that big business owners have, like Walmart or Amazon, to be able to afford having that many workers. So they'll have to naturally lay them off. However, there is another solution to that, though. They could just give them less hours to work, because this is an hourly rate, right? So instead of like working 8 hours a week, I mean 8 hours a day, they can make maybe like work 5 or 6 hours a day. You could like save some money there, and maybe have to minimize the amount of people that you lay off. But then again, if you give them less hours, then it's like a zero sum game, right? The net goes back to zero since they're making more money, but they're working less hours. So what was the point of raising the minimum wage in the first place then? So yeah, that's where
Okay,
small
so
businesses are at.
now I have evidence that I would say contradicts that. So what you said was on the other thing as to why we shouldn't do it based from what Cato what does Cato stand for? The Cato Institute. They posted up 4 reasons not to raise the minimum wage. First, number one is job loss.
Mm-hmm.
Now, the one I looked further into that, right?
Yeah.
The first thing was the first 25-cent minimum wage increase in 1938 resulted in significant job losses. Now, that was 1938.
Mm-hmm.
First of all, there weren't many jobs around to begin with because that was like near the end of the Great Depression.
Mm-hmm.
But I looked further into that, and it contradicts directly with the other one, the .gov one.
Mm-hmm.
The .gov one says that well, before I get to like the actual facts of it, a poll from them says that businesses actually support raising the minimum wage. I don't know how they frame the question. They don't say it in the question, but allegedly 80% of business executives, bigger business executives, supported the minimum wage. And regarding small business owners, 60% of them uh, are fond of raising the minimum wage to $12 by 2020, as long as it's indexed to inflation. Of course, it has to be indexed to inflation, otherwise there's going to be a lot of problems. But businesses all around the country are also voluntarily raising minimum wages. So as far as I can see, the businesses are in support of it. The small businesses, understandably, are only 60% as compared to 80% with the big businesses.
Mm-hmm.
Now, there's a couple of reasons why it's 60% and not, greater. So 60% of them, I'm assuming, they're good bosses. They have enough money to support their, kind of small, client base, not client base, employee base. That's what I meant. We can't really tell from the other 40% if it's people who just straight up can't pay the money or people who are very greedy.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, if we look at it overall, right? If people get laid off, apparently they won't, right? It won't cut jobs. I'll get to that later, but raising the minimum wage should, in theory, boost the economy. Now, not looking at the facts of it, just looking at it logically, if you give like the consumer base, right, the workers, more money, right, there's gonna be more money to spend. If I don't get like $12.75 an hour and I get 15 an hour, like New York would future like put in, then I just legitimately have more money to spend at other places. Unlike higher business executives, which may hoard their money, not make huge purchases. The consumer base is a much better way to get money flowing in the economy. Now, this money will go to other businesses, right? That's technically how it works. On the other hand, raising the minimum wage does not kill jobs. Apparently, economists have found that increasing the minimum wage have no discernible effect on employment, including employment in high impact sectors like restaurants and retail. So yeah, increasing, well, according to this at least, increasing minimum wage does not kill jobs, right? It'll, if anything, I think it'll what was it? Incentivize your workers to do more. Let's see. Recent experience in cities that have raised their minimum wages provides further support. Also, the federal minimum wage is $7.25, right? This is just
Mm-hmm.
like a different point, not
Yeah.
related to what I'm saying. It's federal minimum wage is $7.25. But states also regulate their minimum wages, right? It's
Yeah.
$7.25, but I'm not sure how many states actually have it at $7.25. In New York, it's up there, right? It's one of the higher ones. In
Yeah.
other
In
states,
New York
it's
City, it's
also
15, and
you know
in other parts of New York, it's 13.25. So yeah, it's clear. It's way above
yeah.
7.25.
So the
So the
article that says yeah, you can go now.
if you say, well, the article, whatever you're quoting, says that it won't have an impact on job, but I don't feel like that makes any logical sense, right? I feel like you can't that you can't just make a general statement that no business at all will be affected by increasing minimum wage, because there's so many different types of businesses in the United States, like, and so many different levels of how many people are employed by each business. Like, if it also depends on the business. It also depends on the business's profit margin. Like, if they're making razor thin profits, like 10% profits from their products or whatever, Like they really need every single penny. Like they can't afford to increase their workers' minimum wage. And remember, increase the minimum wage means the business has to increase the minimum wage for every single worker it has. So that that adds up really quickly, and sooner or later you'll see that the business expenses are um greater than their profits. Also, so in a survey of 1,213 businesses and human resource professionals, 38% of employers who currently pay minimum wage said that they would lay off some employees if the minimum wage was raised to $10.10. So that contradicts the other thing that you quoted.
Well,
So
actually, that would line up. That would line up, wouldn't it? 38% said that they would lay off workers if minimum wages was you know taken increased,
mhm.
and my quote said that 60% is supporting minimum wage. So that's the other 40%,
Yeah,
isn't it?
but 40% is still a pretty big deal, though. That's like almost half.
Yeah, I know it's huge. I know it's
Yeah,
huge.
it's like, yeah, 38% of employers. That's a lot. I guess that's where the 500,000 jobs come from, the loss. And yeah, also in addition to that, 54% said that they would decrease hiring levels. So not only would they lay off jobs, it would be harder to get employment. It already is incredibly hard to get employment nowadays. But 54% said that they would decrease hiring levels. That's gonna make it even harder to get a job in the future. So yeah,
Mm-hmm. Well,
You know who this does benefit though more than anybody actually. Sure, it may benefit like the workers or whatever, but minimum wage, right? Who is going to be paying their
yep.
workers, right? It's going to be the business owners, right? And then you know what will happen if the business owners pay the workers minimum wage? The workers are going to go up in income bracket. And then you know what's going to happen when they go up in income bracket? The government is going to get more taxes because the higher income bracket you go, the more taxes you pay. So, it kind of seems like
Mm-hmm.
it's a interesting way for the government to just gain a lot of money by moving a lot of people up in income bracket, gaining more taxes and getting more
That would
taxes.
be a very roundabout way to do it. If that's what they're doing, then they're on some other type of tier, like I cannot imagine
Like
what
playing
kind of thinking.
3D chess, like
But
Minecraft. But yeah,
yeah. But
the numbers line
personally,
up.
I think
Yeah.
okay. So I was yeah, okay. So on the Khan article, the one from Cato, I think it's outdated honestly, but
Mhm.
because right, it's saying that what the current highest minimum wage is in Washington of $9.04. Now, obviously, that's not true,
Mhm.
right? And then to where they source that, it's there literally isn't a source. It says like what it does not go in. There's just like not a source for that.
Mhm.
So that article is outdated. But I think your logic, just like logically think about it, still stands.
Mhm.
Now, increasing the minimum wage, you said that it would make getting a job harder,
Yeah.
right? And that logic does line up with the pro article. Like I was looking through it, right? I was actually reading it. It's not anywhere near as hard to read as a scientific article. Those are just like freaking labyrinths.
Yeah, you know from
But
experience, and me too.
this one,
Yeah.
yeah, but this one is saying that yeah, there would probably be a small drop in like what laying off of unskilled workers,
Mhm.
but the skilled workers would increase since it's gonna be harder to get a job, right? Because minimum wages increase, so they want to make sure they get every bang for their buck.
Mhm.
So overall, an unforeseen side effect will probably be the job market getting more skilled. But
Mhm.
if that's good or not, that's debatable since plenty of people here they don't have skills. They're just like looking to pay for their family or whatever, or just like looking to pay for themselves and just like sit home, watch anime, whatever. But yeah, that's a unforeseen side effect. I didn't even think about that.
Yeah. Um. Well, let's talk about unskilled workers, right? So there.
Hmm.
See, I don't know if you know this, but do you know if there are more skilled workers or unskilled workers in the U.S.? I feel like there are more unskilled workers, cause I feel like there are more people. Oh yeah, cause
Un-
I know this to be true. I think around 70 to 80% of people don't have a college degree by the time they're 25.
Huh.
Yeah, yes. I was like, there's no way,
Well,
but yeah. Like, if you search up right now,
okay. Well,
how
I'm
many
assuming
people
that
don't have a college degree? So,
U.S.
yeah, 70% of Americans don't have a college degree. It's the first thing you see, which is a lot, which
Huh.
is 209.3 million people. Okay, so according to census data, 209.3 million people in the United States are 25 years or older, and 66.9 million have a bachelor's degree or higher, which means that 68% of them do not have a bachelor's degree. So yeah, there are clearly more
So,
unskilled workers in the United States than skilled workers, which means that increasing the minimum wage
yeah.
would, as a whole, hurt more people than it would help. Since, back to the whole
So,
decrease, not being able to get hired and lower hours and getting fired. So yeah.
okay. So this is like the whole issue with it would
Hmm.
be the small business side of it because big businesses, like literally speaking, it does not matter if they have to raise their minimum wage for their workers. Like
Yeah.
even if you think about, oh, that's like $15 for like the thousands and
Hmm.
thousands of workers they have.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, it actually doesn't do that much. They're like billions, right? The difference
Yeah.
between like even millions and billions is like 100, right? That's
Yeah.
like so yeah, big businesses. Even more of them, like 80% of them, was in favor of increasing because they know, that's not going to matter. They're still going to have like an insane profit.
Yeah.
Small businesses seems to be the real itty bitty part of the whole issue. So I'm not
I feel
sure
like
this
this
is a
this,
way to
this
do
starts to
anything, but
create a monopoly, in
yeah, yeah.
fact, because what this is really doing is eliminating competition for companies like Walmart and Amazon, right? Because if the small businesses go out of business, then the only businesses that are left are the big businesses and like some medium businesses. But yeah, it's like I feel like this in a way is eliminating smaller competition and like creating a monopoly
Mm-hmm.
almost.
Oh yeah, well, so assuming that increasing the minimum wage would take out all the small businesses because they can't afford to like pay their workers
Uh huh.
anymore. I suppose that would eliminate a lot of the competition because now it costs more to have your thing going.
Hmm.
Meanwhile, the big businesses, they don't have a problem at all. So
Okay, so
that is a valid point. It's just like yeah, okay.
there
Well,
are
what you been saying?
5.6 million employer firms in the United States in 2016, and firms with fewer than 500 workers accounted for 99.7% of those businesses. So let's say 5.5, right? 5.5. There are 5.5 million small businesses, quote unquote. But yeah, so that just gives us a number to
Mm-hmm.
work with, and those are just businesses, not even like people, just businesses in general. 5.5 million. Let's call it that. So yeah, what were you saying?
Hmm. I'm just looking through more of this, and
Mm-hmm.
I just had a doubt here. So one of them says that San Francisco increased its tip minimum wage to 12.25
Yeah.
before tips, right? You know how in like restaurants where there's waiters and stuff, they get tips, they
Oh yeah,
get
dude,
paid
tips are
lower than
insane,
minimum
right?
wage. That's
I
like
work at I
like
work at Dunkin' Donuts, right?
yeah.
And I get like $5 to $8 tips like every time I go there. Like today, I got $8 in tips just from tips, which is
I don't get tips. Okay, I'm at McDonald's, right, and
uh
I'm actually serving tables, and they
yeah,
don't tip me. And I don't know, I'm normal. I'm like fine with that, right? It's
uh
become normal. You're not supposed to tip McDonald's workers. Every now and then, I get like an old couple who's probably been like in restaurants from like the '80s that
yeah.
are used to tipping, and I'm like, you know what? Thanks, but I don't get tipped. I don't know how a Dunkin' Donut worker gets tipped, but that's not my, whatever.
So we have this tip jar in the front of the cash register. So whenever like give them like change and it's like a lot of change, like let's say it's like 57 cents, like no one wants to put 57 cents into their pocket, so they just put in the tip jar. And then since it's by the railroad, it accumulates very quickly, and that's just like another source of income. But we split it between like the four of us or five of us, however many people are working at that time. So yeah. So if I made $8 in tips, there must have been like $40 in that tip jar. But yeah.
Oh, that's how I thought they literally just like slid $5 in your
No, we
pocket.
have a tip jar.
That happened to me once. That happened to me once. I'm like, nice.
Okay, but yeah. So yeah, actually tips are, but that's just for like the fast food industry slash restaurant industry, right?
Yeah,
They can't count on tips for every single type
yeah.
of
Not
small
only
business
that,
owner.
but yeah. Regarding the restaurant industry, other than their waiters and stuff, which are already getting paid like basically like minimum wage because
Yeah.
they get tips and stuff, their like actual chefs and stuff get paid much more than minimum wage. So increasing the minimum wage wouldn't matter. They're also some of them are also skilled. If you're talking about big restaurants, so restaurants are kind of exempt from the whole argument, or like actually like legitimate restaurants, like not McDonald's.
Hmm.
But so there's this other thing here that says San Francisco increases tip minimum wage to $12.25 before tips, and experienced positive job growth in the leisure and hospitality industry the following year.
I wish
That sounds good and all, but
I wish that they would explain that more, cause like that sounds to me like a random
yeah,
statement that anybody could
positive
just put.
growth.
Like, if you go
Yeah,
into the logistics and like what the logical reasoning behind that increase is, then I feel like I would find that more
yeah,
believable and like actually would use that as
yeah,
evidence.
like explain why it happened. But the thing is, right? I
Yeah,
read that and I'm like, okay, that sounds cool and all. I
yeah.
tried to click where that they got their information from because it was from the Department of Labor,
Hmm.
right? The Department of Labor, like you can't get wrong information about labor from there. But the
Hmm.
page wasn't found. So it's either it's like I don't know what they did with San Francisco, but the page wasn't found. I'm not sure if I should believe that this positive growth happened or not anymore. So that's tough.
Okay, so have you ever heard of White Castle?
The rest
The
whatever.
fast food place.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, the
Okay.
fast food
So
place. I
yeah,
never ate there.
okay. So before I get to that, here's just another thing according to a 2013 Gallup poll. So 60% of small business owners say that raising the minimum wage will hurt most small business owners. So yeah, coming from the small business owners themselves, they're gonna say it will hurt most small business owners. But anyway, back to the White House part. So Jamie Richardson, if you don't know him,
Yep.
he's the vice president of the fast food chain White Castle, right? He himself said that the company would be forced to close almost half of its stores and let thousands of workers if the federal minimum wage were raised to $15. That's probably referring to the New York one, since the
Yeah.
New York City one's at $15, and by like
Mm.
I think next year or like in a couple years, all of New York State is supposed to go to $15. But yeah, so the White Castle, right? And White Castle is a decently sized like fast food chain, right? Like I actually have seen White Castle stores back when I was in um the city. I don't think there's none around here. I don't think in the suburbs, but back in the
Mm.
city, like in Queens, I've seen White Castle a couple ones. But yeah, so even like a decently sized fast food chain, right? This is not even like a small business. This is a fast food chain, right? The vice president of that fast food chain is saying that they would be forced to close almost half of its stores and thousands of workers lay off. So yeah.
So there's also the matter of like at what point are they going to be like cutting workers? At what profit margin are they going to be like releasing workers?
Yeah,
Because
because I feel like
like say they're
this depends
yeah,
on
yeah.
from business to business, right? Sure, White Castle can will close their business, but like maybe like not like another business like Amazon again, because they don't have as many people as like retail stores and fast food stores because they're mostly online and like they just mainly ship um items. But yeah,
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I'm wondering about like at what point do they say that yeah we got to like stop hiring workers, like if their profit goes from 2 billion to like what 1.5 billion, is that the point where they just like start cutting workers? Like does it go if it goes from like 30% to 25%, they're like, oh my god, we're losing money, we have to start cutting people? Because the thing is, if they try to maintain the same profit, right, the same like net revenue
hmm,
with the increased minimum wage, that's not going to work out. That's a point where people start getting laid off because they're trying to make the same amount of money where they have to pay more. Like that's like literally not possible unless they like, change something in their selling, right?
yeah,
So if they accept making less revenue but still being above ground, I suppose it could solve a lot of problems. Like if they're
hmm,
Because if they have the wrong mindset going, that could create the issue that you're talking about, the issue that may happen if minimum wage gets increased.
Yeah, I see what you're saying. I completely understand what you're saying. I just
Yeah.
want to add a little side note. So apparently, Forbes reported, I don't know what year, I'll have to check exactly, but
Mhm.
one sec. Okay, so Forbes reported that Walmart, right? So I talked about Walmart, right? Walmart. So Forbes reported that an increase in the minimum wage has led to the closure of several Walmart stores and the cancellation of promised stores yet to open. So I guess it can affect chains like Walmart, I guess, because it actually kind of makes sense because Walmart has a lot, and I mean like a lot of employees. Like I'm gonna check right now, how many employees in Walmart? Okay, 2.1 million people, right? Okay, now I'm gonna do some math right here on the spot. Get my calculator out. 1. Okay, so 2.1 million people. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. I think I messed up.
So while you do that, I saw this. I'm reading this other article by literally the website's called businessforfairminimumwage.org.
Okay.
So the the minimum wage in 1968 was $10.97.
Yeah.
So no, it wasn't like literally $10.97, but that was like adjusting for inflation in 2015 dollars. Now, in that year, or at least in the next in what previously, the okay, so 1968, the employment minimum wage was increased to $10.97 in 2015 dollars. The year prior, or 2 years prior, it was 3.8%. 3.6% in 1968, where it was, that was happened, and then 3.5% in 1969. Now that shows that increasing the minimum wage either does nothing to unemployment or it decreases in unemployment. That's not very conclusive. It only went down 0.1%, but that's pretty big.
Yeah.
The next time it went that low was 1996 and 1997. So again, after a minimum wage increase happened in 1996, 1997, unemployment went down again. So of course, correlation does not mean correspondence, or what was it? Causation. That's what I meant. But if it doesn't, that doesn't matter because it shows that increasing the minimum wage either does nothing to unemployment or it doesn't. It helps it out. Of course, it's not by huge standards, and a bunch of small businesses in the United States going out. I'm not sure how much that would change the unemployment, but I'm not sure it would be too bad, according to this at least.
Okay, well, I did the math, right? And okay, so it's not as big as I thought it would be, right? So let's say I guess okay, I think I know why it's not as big as I thought. So let's say there's 2.1 million Walmart workers, right? So I did 2.1 million,
Yeah.
right? Times 7.25. But see, the problem with that is not every single Walmart employee makes 7.25, right? Because if you're living in New York City, you're making $15 an hour. But if you're living in somewhere that makes 7.25, you're making 7.25. So
yeah, I think the better would be to do like the average from like 725 is like the lowest of lowballing, right? It doesn't get lower than that.
Yeah.
Highballing would be like what $15 in New York because that's where's the highest. So I'd take like 10 or 11 and then see how you end up there.
10 or 11.
Yeah, hold on, my phone's ringing. I'll be. Okay, I don't know what that was about. Some random Chinese lady was just talking on the phone. I don't know what that was. But
I
I'm
get
back.
this calls all the time. Anyway,
Yeah.
I wonder if she's making minimum wage. You should have asked for her opinion. Okay.
Yes, ask in English.
Let's see. What was I saying? Oh yeah, back to the math. So yeah, I originally did buy 7.25, but that's not very accurate. It's not every single Walmart employee makes 7.25 an hour.
Yeah.
and unless I know the exact average, because if I raise, let's say I make this like 10 or something, right? Then I have to proportionally
Yep.
increase the second number by the same amount. But so
Wait,
yeah.
hold on a second.
Yeah.
We're doing it by the minimum wage per hour. They don't work just 1 hour.
Oh yeah. Well, I mean, this is this is more like the I guess you call it like a double, triple, half
So
method, right?
okay,
I'd
yeah,
like
I
just
get it.
proportionally how much it would increase.
All right. So how much does Walmart make in a day? We can just go up from there. Do it like what the standard 8 hours a day, right? So just multiply whatever you get by 8, and then see how much Walmart makes in a day.
Okay. So 2.1 million workers, right? Let's say they work 40
Yep.
hours a week, like normal people. 3.
Mm-hmm.
So let's say 2.1 million people. So are we gonna calculate their yearly salary or their monthly salary or what? You saying yearly?
Their yearly salary.
I mean, what exactly are we calculating here?
Let's see.
Okay, I think.
So I'm just gonna see like how much of Walmart's money do they have to spend on their workers, right? Is it like a
I think that's
significant
an
amount?
easily
Because I'm
accessible
looking at how
fact.
much revenue does. Yeah. I'm looking it up now. Like how much does Walmart make in a day to make it simple? But if we get it in a year, that's fine.
Yeah.
So, okay.
Walmart makes 40 million a
Walmart
day in
made
profit.
514 billion.
Yeah, Walmart makes 40 million
Okay.
million a day in profit.
Okay, 40 million a day, not 40 million a day considering how much is that revenue?
And profit.
Profit, that's profit?
Yes.
Profit, okay.
Okay.
So that's
Actually,
including all the deductions.
that's actually really
right? That's
helpful.
already
Actually.
including.
Yeah. So
that's including how much they already paid their employees. Then, if it's profit. Or
so that's basically its total revenue minus total cost, right? So that includes their salaries to the workers. So yeah.
Okay, so
I mean,
in that case,
yeah.
I have one that says it's 500. There's one here that says it's 514 billion a year.
That's their revenue.
Now, yeah, revenue. So if we just
that's
see
without
how much
the
of that
expenses of like
employees,
items and salaries and stuff.
Yeah. Yeah, so if we can just see how much of that the salaries would just be, take a percent.
Dude, you know what we could do?
Dude,
we can reverse engineer this. Okay, so the typical Walmart employee makes 22,137 a year.
Yep.
So, with that number,
times 2.1 million.
Well, I was gonna make it into a day. No, because I was gonna figure out.
This is an actual call this time. I'll be right back.
Okay.
Hold on to that.
Okay, so I'm gonna try to figure out the hourly rate of the average Walmart employee. So that number, 22,137, I'm gonna divide by 12, because 12 months in the year. So the average Walmart employee makes $1,844.75 per month. So if we divide that by let's see. If we divide that by 240 hours, because let's say there's 4 weeks in a month, and 40 times 4 is actually 160, so never mind. So divide by 160 hours. So you just divide by 160 hours. Okay, so they make.
I'm gonna kill myself. What is this? All right, I'll cut all this out. This is stupid. I'll be right back. You could keep.
Okay.
$11.53 per hour.
Yeah.
Average.
So, let's say
our estimate wasn't too far up.
Yeah, let's say we increase it by $3, right? Because you know how it's that one thing that says if they increase it from $7.25 to like $10.10. So let's just make it simple and increase it by $3, so that the new average rate is what, $14.53. Okay, so $14.53 times 160 hours, because that's how we're estimating how many hours the average Walmart employee works in a month. So you get 2,324.80. So you multiply that by 12, because there's 12 months in a year. and it'll be $27,897.60. So I'm gonna copy and paste that into the doc.
Compared to how much did they have when they had $11?
One sec. Okay, $22,000 on 137.
Okay, so that's a $5,000 increase.
Well, okay, I don't know why that's small, but whatever. Whatever. Okay, so yeah. So
Now,
is $5,000 a lot? Wait, this is just okay. Actually, okay. So you know how they make $40 million a day in profit. You know what we could do?
$3 million. Okay, that's nationwide.
Could
what?
do? Okay, so here's what I'm thinking, right? So $40 million a day in profit. That's okay. Here's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna calculate how much a Walmart employee makes in one day. So which is 8 hours, right? So 14.53 times 8.
And you're gonna multiply that by how many Walmart employees there
are? Well, let's yeah. But okay, so 116.24, right? So 116.24.
How much time are we running right now?
We are on. The software says 45 minutes, but you're gonna cut like 5 minutes of that due to interruptions.
Oh, okay. Okay. Probably.
So let's say 40 minutes. Okay. So 116.24 times what? 2.1 million. 3. Yep. Okay. This big number. I messed it up.
Oh wow. Okay. You sure you didn't add an extra 0 there?
Let's see. Okay. This is so bad. Holy crap. Let's see. 18.53 times 8 times 2.13. 1, 2, 3. Okay. Yes. It should have 7 digits, right?
7 digits? There's like 9
million.
here.
Well, no. Well, 2.1 million is 7 digits. Yeah, that's the right number. That is what? 244 million, about? That makes sense. Every single, yeah. Because that's their total expenses for every single employee. For all total employees, right? So they are paying Walmart is paying $244 million a year in expenses to their employees, every single one of their employees. That's reasonable.
Huh.
And
they're making.
Wait, that's with 14.
Their profit is 140 million.
Oh wait, yeah, cause So let's see. They make $500 billion in revenue, right? So that means the rest of their expenses must come from their products, right? How much they're buying for their inventory.
Probably, yeah. I'm just like double cross-checking this real quick.
Okay.
Now times 12. It I believe it lines up.
Okay.
Man, if Walmart was never a case study I've ever seen.
Okay. New number.
Really picking apart. New number.
Yep. Here you go. Okay. So yeah.
All right.
193,704,000 compared to 244,104,000. So if we subtract those two numbers, we're going to see how much increase in expenses that Walmart would have to incur.
Looks like it's about 50 million on the dot. 51
which
million.
means that Walmart would be losing $10 million a day. Since they're making $40 million a day in profit, since they would have to increase their expenditures by around 50 million on average, that they would be losing 10 million a day.
Wouldn't they be losing 50 million a day?
Well, no, because they're making $40 million in profit, right? And if they increase their minimum wage, they would have to increase their expenses by 50 million. So they lose all their profit, so their profit goes to $0, and then it goes down even more by 10, because 40 minus 50 is 10, plus 40 negative
It's
50.
140.
What?
It's 140 million a day.
Are you sure?
Yeah, that's what you said, right?
It says Walmart makes 40 million a day in profit. Look, okay, I'm gonna paste it right here. There. See.
Walmart makes $40 million a day in profit. Okay, so you're telling me they're going to be under the ground if we increase the minimum wage?
By $10 million a day, yes. But then again, this is what they're flipping. I don't even. This is what they're like.
Trash math.
Yeah, trash math.
this is our discount hobo math.
Yeah, we literally just increased it by $3, and assume yes. This is okay.
Of course, we're not taking account into like many other variables.
Yeah, well, we use the average going to the whatever it says 22,137 per year, and then we got their hourly rate, and then we just increased it by $3. So yeah. But see, that wouldn't even make sense actually, right? Because let's say there's like a large percentage of a sizable percentage of Walmart employees are living in New York, right? And in New York, they're making $13.25, right? While someone in Alabama or something makes $7.25, right? So the minimum wage goes from $7.25 to $10, right? The New York people would still be making the same amount of money. They wouldn't be increasing, right?
Yeah.
So it might not be that much.
It lines up with this.
What?
Yeah, because some places it would be a real problem, right? In Alabama or something.
Yeah.
Because they actually have to increase their amount. Meanwhile, in New York, right, it's already pretty high, and they're already making that much profit. They also have a large market, right? There's a bunch of variables involved. Mm-hmm. This is like if we were increasing it like nationwide, every single Walmart, even
and the average of it. This is the average.
Yeah, it's an average.
Yeah.
Never take the average of an average, but so this lines up with this other thing, right? The modern theory of economics say that increasing your minimum wage dramatically or to a stupid amount is going to lose jobs, right? It's gonna lead to a lot of issues, but making it something reasonable will not. It'll actually be good for the economy in a bunch of other ways. So what I think what's happening is that a lot of people want to increase it a ridiculous amount. I don't really know how much they're rooting to increase it, but even a difference of like $3, as you see, is like ridiculous.
Yeah.
So of course, like everything, we need to find that middle ground, like a reasonable minimum wage to where it gets the economy up, right? It gets more money going to the consumer so they can spend it everywhere. At the same time, businesses aren't like breaking their legs.
Yeah, especially the small businesses. And even big businesses, as shown by White Castle and even now Walmart.
Yeah, and then in the background, there's always that question of like, well, what's their cutoff point? What are they saying that, oh my god, this is a problem? Like if they're making like $1 billion instead of $2 billion, are they considering that a problem even though they're still making money? So they start cutting off workers even though they could still technically afford it.
Yeah.
So there's always that thing too. So clearly there's it's just basically up to what the business owners decide to do, right? Like, are they still going to try to keep making the same amount of money with less workers while paying the same more? Paying them more, because that's not going to work out, right? But if they go in with that mindset, that's going to lead to a whole problem. Meanwhile, if the minimum wage is reasonable, right? It's not like insane, like $15 in New York. Like only a few other states could manage to have it be $15. New York can only do that because it's such a huge market,
Oh, yeah,
and
dude,
there's
their
just a bunch of
economy is
consumers like, hey,
insane. Like,
yeah, lose New
I
York,
read
protect New
something.
York.
Yeah, because their New York's GDP is $1.6 trillion. The state's GDP is $1.6 trillion.
There goes every country in Africa.
Like, literally, it's like it's third in the United States, and yeah, and if it was
Third in
if
the United States is probably 13th in the world.
it literally is, it's ranked 12th or 13th largest economy in the world,
Oh
according to
God.
Wikipedia. Yeah. So yeah.
Well, so yeah, I
You
mean,
can see, okay. Now
I
I'm gonna
clearly learned.
compare it to something like Rhode Island
Yep.
GDP, right? Now actually, let's go even more rural. Let's go to Wisconsin. Actually, no, they have cheese. Wyoming. Wyoming GDP. Okay,
That's what I was
so
gonna say. I was gonna say Wyoming because no one cares about Wyoming.
Wyoming GDP is 34. Wait, what? Hold on. Okay, 34 billion. About 34.4 billion.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, that may seem like a lot,
Yeah.
but it's 0.21% of
That's
the
like
U.S. GDP, and it makes it the 50th largest state economy of the nation. So yeah, comparing 13th and 50th, that's
50th.
yeah. Even Wyoming is
Yeah, I
50th.
mean, if you're saying the 50th largest, the 50th largest state economy, that means it's last. It's not like the largest state economy.
Yeah,
Oh, so
it literally is
yeah,
last. Even Hawaii
huh?
is bigger than that. Whatever, I don't care. Actually, even Alaska. Actually, no, Alaska is oil. Okay, back to the topic at hand. But yeah, that's
Yep.
just one example of how diverse the statewide GDP is. State economies are. So yeah.
So yeah, we really looked at minimum wage there. I never even knew this much hoopla existed along with it.
Yeah. Um. Yeah.
Indeed. So
See,
yeah, do you
dude,
still think
it's.
we should not raise it? Wait, what?
I was gonna say like some of these sources are like so contradictory. It's like insane, right? I'm on like
Yeah,
Procon,
I mean, like,
like I'm on like procon.org, right?
yep.
And like literally right pro number 2 says increasing the minimum wage would reduce poverty. And then con number 2 says raising the minimum wage would increase poverty. I'm like, what do you want from me? Is it gonna reduce or increase?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like these two articles, the ones I pulled up as to why we should raise and why we should not. Like I literally made a note. I'm saying contradictory to above. Like they're literally saying opposite things.
Like I guess it's because they're using different variables when they're testing their
Yeah, they're using different
yeah,
variables. Like even if given it's a survey or something, they probably frame the question differently. Like there's so much stuff going on.
yeah,
Like you can't even call facts anymore because you don't even know like how they got that fact.
yeah. Damn. But yeah, I guess it's like with every topic, it's very nuanced and there's no one real solution.
Yep.
So I guess
Yep, several
maybe
teams have
this should be a statewide thing. Maybe there shouldn't be like a federal increase. Maybe each state should decide based on their
Yeah.
GDP how much they would increase, how much they should increase it, so that small businesses, big businesses like how much they aren't affected, employment wise and like hiring wise. Because I feel like
I think it's
if you
good that
make a
it's like a
general
state thing.
federal minimum wage increase, it's going to negatively affect a lot of people. So
Yeah,
yeah,
like
just make it statewide.
the states who can afford to do it will do it because it's going to make their workers happy. They
Yeah,
can afford it, right? Like they won't have to make any cuts. Meanwhile, the states who are like, not many people, they don't mind getting paid like $7.25 because they don't even have anything to spend it on because
hmm
they're just like farming potatoes or something.
yeah,
It's like if you increase that, they're gonna go into a panic. So good thing it's a statewide thing because not every state could handle. Like that's why the federal one's so low, right? Because you keep it low for the states that are already low. If you increase it, you're just gonna be throwing those states in the ground. At
Yeah.
the same time, statewide at least, increasing it a lot is a bad idea. Keeping it very low is a bad idea. So there's always you need to find a reasonable middle ground to increase it because a big change, like $3, is technically a big change, right? Because in
Yeah, as we
1938 they
saw by the
increased it by a
Walmart thing.
quarter. Yeah, but in 1938 they increased it by a quarter. That freaking broke the economy.
Yeah.
So, yeah, clearly there's a lot of variables.
Yeah. But okay, well, now that we talked about like the greater aspects of it, let's bring it back down to earth a little more. Would you like an increase in your salary? Your how much do you make again? Per hour?
Me, like $12.75 per hour.
Oh dang.
Yeah.
I think I make that much. I either make that or $13.25 an hour. I have my thing right next to you. Oh yeah, I have never mind. I make $12.75 an hour. So whenever I send whenever I send a video that New York State, the rest of New York State except New York City makes $13.25, it's actually $12.75. So yeah,
That's fine.
yeah, it's fine. It's not like we did any math with that. So yeah, would you like an increase
Personally,
from $12.25 to 15?
$12.75 to 15. Now that would certainly be a change because actually I don't think it would because I work like 3 hours a week. Okay, like I'm being real. I work like 3 hours a week.
Yeah.
If I'm coming in during my 3 hour shift and they're like, yo, you want to go home early? There's like no one here. I'm gonna say yes.
Yeah.
So I go home. I get my like $20 right. I get my freaking 7-Eleven. That's all I spend it on. So if I like even increasing it to like $15, right? That makes me a whole extra $5 in a day.
Dang.
I can get like another 5 taquitos with that much. And McDonald's can afford it, right? And McDonald's, out of all the fast food restaurants, can afford doing that.
Yeah. I mean,
restaurant wide, you got like
yeah.
I was gonna say you got like 12 employees per restaurant, but we have 99. We are overstaffed. Yeah, we are understaffed every single shift because all these guys are like 14-year-olds who are like, I don't want to work. I just got this job for the summer, but I don't want to work for the summer. You know, I got pool parties.
Yeah, well, me personally, if it was $15 an hour, I would make an extra $180 a month. So that's pretty nice to have, you know. But yeah,
That is pretty nice to have. But we always got to think about how it would affect everybody else. Your manager. Probably gonna
mine
affect
is
your manager.
insane. But yeah, I guess that brings it to a conclusion. Our final verdict on minimum wage is that it depends on how you look at it, and it depends if your state really can afford it, or maybe even like if your business can afford it.
Yeah.
'Cause, like even
Depends on the mindset.
if you're a
It depends
small
on the
business
mindset of the
living in
business
a
workers.
state with a big economy, it might not be so great for you.
Yeah, it also depends on the mindset of like the business owners.
Yeah.
Like, are they gonna try to do something that's impossible with the new minimum wage laws? Like, so yeah.
Well,
You think that we could what scale minimum wage to whatever company you're working for, or would that be a violation of your own rights? Because we're
see,
capitalists,
it
right?
really depends on the business owners
I don't
themselves,
think
because
they
they
would
could
agree
be
with
like the greediest little people on the planet and be like, all right, the law says we have to raise the minimum wage according to how much we can afford, and we're raising it to like we're increasing it by a penny. Like they could do that. So like I feel like we can't give too like the government can't give too much freedom to individual businesses on how much they increase the minimum wage by, because they could like there has to be some sort of like set of rules for the business owners to follow.
Yeah, if the Articles of Confederation did anything, it proved to not trust people.
I think it's just like a life lesson in general. Just don't trust people.
Yeah, don't trust anybody.
Literally.
Don't trust yourself.
Okay, let's not go that far. Anyway, I get that brings it an end to this episode 2 of Chaos and Psyche's podcast, minimum wage.
Yeah, look forward to Minecraft Let's Plays.
Yup, I can actually afford having a Minecraft account now. So yeah.
$24 account.
Make sure to like, subscribe, and comment for future videos, and we'll see you all in the next one. See you.
Yeah, I hope we hit that. I hope we hit that 10-minute mark.
See you.